Hello and welcome to a new Cardfight Vanguard overdress episode review. This will be episode 7, which just aired. Runny Porridge, I believe it is called. Yeah. So this is an interesting episode to talk about because there's really not much going on in it. I'll be the first to admit. This one was definitely a more slow-paced episode. See, this anime is definitely a slice of life anime. And this is the most slice of life I think Vanguard ever gets, really. There's there's a couple things happening, but not much. And I know a lot of people are gonna immediately kind of dismiss that as a filler episode, and I really think we should just ban that word from anime discussion, because unless we are literally talking about what filler actually means, which is something that was in the manga but isn't in the anime, this doesn't have a manga, so filler doesn't apply. Because yeah, people will immediately always call everything filler, and the moment anything isn't like a new plot twist per 5 minutes or whatever, people are like, oh, it's trash, throw it into the garbage, don't even watch it, it's filler. And it's like, guys, this is trying to be a slice of life series. You know that, right? It's trying to be slow-paced. In fact, it is indeed very reminiscent of the original Vanguard. Yeah, because the original Vanguard was very much praised for being a slice of life series. Like, it was as slow-paced and slice of lifey as a card game anime had basically ever gotten. And it was praised for that. And this is doing the same thing, just going in a different direction with it, because of the fact that it's not showing quite as many card fights. And I will admit, this episode even went a little slow for my tastes too. I definitely would have liked to have a little bit more going on in it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a completely worthless episode or anything. Because yes, this is an episode I have quite a few problems with. It's probably my least favorite episode so far, I'd say. Yeah, maybe. Either that or the wrestler one. But I still liked it, that's the thing. Not every episode is going to be, the best episode ever made. And let's be real, they weren't really going to follow up on the previous episode with Toya. And in fact, I think this is a clever way of following up on it by having such an eventful episode be followed by such a slow-paced episode. It gives you time to really kind of take things in, and it really makes that episode feel all the more important, which is good, because it should feel important, because it's a good episode. And in fact, judging by how this episode ended, with them showing Izuki stating that Toya's kind of got some of his determination back again, that kind of shows to me that this episode will, this season even, these 12 episodes will probably end with, and we're building up to, another rematch with Toya. Whether that's with Yuyu or with Danji, I don't know. But it looks like we're ending this season at least with something Toya related, or at the very least we have it coming up soon. Yeah. So, yeah, this episode, Yuyu got sick. He got a fever because of the stuff happening with Toya. The fight was so intense and everything. And that seems to tie into, at least to me anyway, the thing we foreshadowed in episode 3 with, Yuyu being able to, sense, people's emotions and feelings and stuff. It seems like that has something to do with him getting sick here. It might not, I might be reading too deep into it, but that's the impression I got, at least. And because of that, the members of One Day Hell are like, we don't know what to do about this, and so Danji ends up looking after him because his family are on a vacation at a hot springs parlor. And that's about it, really. That's all that really happens in the episode. As I mentioned, very slice of life. It's very much just Danji looking after Yuyu. We do get a scene a little bit into the episode where Megumi and the others visit Yuyu and hand him some presents and stuff. Most of the presents are jokes. Earlier on in the episode, Danji gets Yuyu a teddy bear, but then also during the scene with the presents being handed out, we also we get some silly jokes like a nurse's outfit and that kind of stuff. But one of the things we do get is Megumi, I believe, gives Yuyu like a package with more cards and stuff with a bit of constructive criticism. This isn't something that's wrong with the episode necessarily, just something I would have changed if I was writing it. I would have had it so that Megumi gave Yuyu a booster box instead of just, you know, this box with already opened cards in it. Like, them using the already opened cards in it thing made a lot more sense in episode 2 when Yuyu was originally building his deck, because it was the other members of Blackout letting him borrow their cards and stuff. And so he was using like the leftover cards they weren't currently using to build his deck. That was really cool and all. I think doing that again here doesn't make as much sense. I mean, it's fine. Again, it's not like a plot hole or anything. I just think it would have worked a lot better. Funny image of Megumi, by the way. I just think it would have worked a lot better if she gave him like a sealed booster box or something, and him and Danji like open packs together and stuff. Because we could have still had the same scene. You know, like the only thing that really amounts to it is like foreshadowing for Yuyu updating his deck, because he looks at a few cards and goes, oh, cool, I look forward to adding those cards to my deck and everything. And, well, we don't even get to see those cards. But, like, I think that would have worked better if you opened them from a pack or whatever, instead of just, you know, being given them. I don't know, minor critique, I guess. Another thing, yeah, I will admit, this one was like a little too slow-paced. The beginning stuff is fine, I don't mind that, but it's when we get to like the bit after like the present handing out scene, where Yuyu and Danji are just kind of sitting there talking, and it feels like it takes up basically the entirety of the episode, because it does. But I would have liked a bit more like moving pieces or stuff. We do learn a little bit about these characters during this time, where we definitely get to see how like overprotective Danji is of Yuyu already. I'm looking forward to seeing why that is. I think that has a connection to the charm he has, and whoever this Mireille Monet person is. Maybe he's lost someone in the past and he doesn't want to lose Yuyu as well. Maybe that's why. I definitely think a lot of this is foreshadowing. And we definitely see like Yuyu, especially earlier on in the episode, like pretending he doesn't even have this fever and everything, pretending he's fine so he doesn't have to burden his friends, and a lot of his stuff. And I definitely think that's foreshadowing too. It tells us a lot about his character and stuff. I just think that my big problem with this episode is that a lot of it's done fairly bluntly, you know, like there's not as much to read in here. It's just a scene will happen and it will show us something about a character, and then it will be like, oh, yep, we know that about the character now. Whereas I feel like the other episodes did this a bit more elegantly, if you know what I mean, where like it felt like you could read into it more, and there are more kind of moving pieces going on, and it was just a lot more entertaining. Again, I definitely understand the tone they're going for here, and I think the tone is pretty good, actually, having these characters just hanging out, and it definitely fits the slice of life stuff. I just think this was the weakest execution of that. Like, surprisingly, there weren't really that many jokes in this episode. I think there are actually more jokes in the previous episode with Toya, funnily enough. And the jokes we did have didn't really go anywhere or really hit particularly hard. Again, I do like this as a kind of a strengthening episode for the bond between Danji and Yuyu, whether you see that as a platonic one or a romantic one. I'm pretty sure like the official character description I've seen floating around states that Danji sees Yuyu as a brother to him. So I guess that's what I'm going with for now. I don't know if they're going to go anywhere romantic with it. After episode 2, I thought they would be, but they haven't really commented on that since episode 2. So I don't know where they're going with that. And I definitely think this is going to be one of the more forgettable episodes in the long run. You know, like when people remember the series, I think episode 1, 3, and 6 are probably going to be ones like that really jump out to people. Whereas like 5 and 7 are like, yeah, they happened. I did like this scene where Yuyu was looking at base, which I am now actually looking at a physical copy of it because I finally have the deck, by the way. I've been playing with it. It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to making videos about these decks, but I'm kind of busy, so that's why the channel's been a little bit emptier than usual recently. I know, picked a perfect time to be busy, didn't I? But I've been playing around with the deck, and it's a lot of fun. I love Bastion a lot. It's a really fun deck. I haven't opened any packs yet though. My shop has had a bit of a shipping delay in regards to the packs, but we do have the decks now, so I'm happy. You know, the start decks will definitely entertain me until we get the set, whenever we do get it. But yeah, I like this scene where Yuyu was kind of reflecting on his fight with Toya. That stuff was really good. I may have come off as a little bit negative in this video, but this scene was really good. I liked Yuyu and Danji's talk about, like, you know, he won, but it did make Toya upset, and like the morality of that and everything. And it's basically just adding on and talking about stuff that happened in episode 6. And episode 6 was so good, then I'm of course happy to see more of that. I'm hoping we go somewhere with this. You know, like I'm looking forward to whatever it is this ends up culminating in. So I liked that a lot. I did like, whilst we didn't get a proper card fight this episode, I did like that during this scene, Yuyu and Danji were card fighting each other. Would I have liked to see the card fight properly? Yeah. I definitely think that would have spiced this episode up a little bit, actually, if we actually, like, got to see and follow along with the card fight. But we didn't, you know, like, they didn't really show us any of it. But I do like the idea of these characters just having a casual conversation and doing all this other stuff whilst card fighting. Danji, like, walks off to boil the kettle and everything and fold laundry and stuff whilst they're still doing the card fight. I quite like that. That made it feel very kind of chill and relaxed. That felt very relatable. So I liked that a lot. I just kind of wish, like, I feel like you could have fit the proper, like, the card fight in there and let us see some of it without really sacrificing anything too important, but that's just my opinion. Again, I come off as a little negative here, but that's just because the rest of the series has been so good that I've been praising it so much that when I suddenly go, oh, this bit and this bit could be improved, it makes it sound like the episode sucks. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of people out there that didn't really like this episode, and that's fair, you know. Again, whilst I did enjoy it, it did feel like a bottle episode, I guess. Would that term even apply to animation? Basically the idea that, like, other episodes and stuff are so high budget and so well thought out that they kind of have to get a cheap episode, just kind of kick it out there, so they can save a bit of money on the side because the other episodes are so expensive. I definitely think that's one of the reasons we've been having less card fights in this season, not just because of lack of time, but also because the card fights are, like, expected to have Sakuga and stuff to go along with them. I don't feel like they should feel like that, you know, like, don't get me wrong, I love the Sakuga sequences and stuff, but I think more card fights, like the one in episode 2 where it was just the characters slapping the cards down on the table and we didn't see the units, I'd be okay with more of those, you know. I would have been fine if we got a card fight like that in this episode. I do love the unit Sakuga scene and everything, and I definitely want to see as many of those as possible. But I don't feel like we need to have one of those every card fight, and if that's the thing that's holding them back from doing more card fights, then I know you already have the rest of Season 1 fully animated and everything, and most of Season 2 planned out, but bear that in mind, you know, like, you don't have to be restrained by that. So yeah, that was episode 7. Yeah, I really didn't have that much to say about this one. I mean, I still went on for a little longer than I thought I would. But yeah, this was definitely one of the more forgettable episodes. There's still a lot going on. I still really love Danji. I really love Yuyu. I love the stuff they're teasing with Toya, even if he didn't get much screen time. He's such a great character that even though he's in this episode for like 2 seconds, he's still the highlight of the episode. I definitely did a good job picking which deck I wanted to run in overdress, huh? And yeah, I just really liked the episode. I know it sounds like I didn't, but that's only because I've been so positive towards the previous episodes that me suddenly, like, giving criticism sounds like the end of the world. It's like the opposite of the reboot thing, where I hated on it so much that the moment that there was even a passable episode, it seemed like the best episode ever made, you know? Like, it's just a comparison thing. Be sure to let me know what your thoughts of this episode were. I'm definitely expecting some more negative reactions than usual. And that's okay. If you were negative, that's fine. I don't mind. I mean, it's not me you're insulting. Like, I don't know why I feel the need. Like, I get the feeling that a lot of people feel that because I've been so positive towards this anime, that anytime they criticize it, it makes it feel like an attack on me, but I don't care. I feel like that's the thing people get tripped up on too often, is the idea that they like a show and then they take it personally when someone else criticizes that show, but I don't care. Life's too short to get too bent up in that. If you don't like it, then that's fine. I will defend it if you give criticisms and stuff that don't apply. But if you just genuinely are like, yeah, I see what it's going for, I just didn't really gel with me, then that's fine. But yeah, also it may sound like I'm very disinterested. I'm just tired. I've not been sleeping much recently. I should sleep more. And yeah, so those were my very muddled and confused thoughts of this episode. I thought it was pretty decent. It was an enjoyable enough episode. I do think it dragged a little in places. We could have tightened up the pacing a little bit so that we could fit a card fight in there. I think that would have improved this episode quite a lot, actually. But I do like what we saw. I do like Danji. I like Yuyu. I like seeing them hang out. I'm definitely a big fan of this series trying to be a slice of life, regardless of how well or badly it executes that. It executes it at times better sometimes than it does other times, and that's okay. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the episode. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video to see more overdress content. I've already reviewed every other overdress episode so far, so be sure to watch those videos. Remember, for every statement, there's an asterisk, and I shall see you later with more videos.